Hey everybody, it's Danielle here from the Big Money Stylist Podcast, and we are back in the studio.
We're back!
I feel so formal in this studio, like I'm like so oni. Like
I feel like Dr. Phil. So,
Yeah.
Mrs. White,
Tell me
about what's been happening.
Except for I'm still in sweats, but they're jean sweats this week.
I put a blouse on and
I know.
thigh high boots.
Why are you outdressing me? That's weird.
Yeah, it's normally I look like a hobo. I'm not saying you look like a hobo. You're still above hobo, but normally
I
I'm
put on makeup and I put on like a fancy t-shirt and like fancy denim joggers. But let's just address the elephant in the room.
I don't have my hair in.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what?
It's okay.
I don't think it's bad.
I took off my lashes and my nails, and I've had gel on my nails, and I was like, shit got real, because I was like looking at my hands. I'm like, whose hands are these? I was like,
don't.
You know what's so funny? I was feeling like, and this kind of goes with what we want to talk about today, is like staying out of fear and out of funk and like all that good stuff. Like literally yesterday, just showering, getting ready, I like did my makeup, I put on fake lashes. I was like, I forgot I clean up nice. I literally was like, I'm doing a live. I never do lives. I was like, I'm
back, guys.
And just doing that though, I felt like there was some normalcy in it that it felt so good.
And you know what? So I actually recently downloaded this app called Sweat. I'm obsessed with it.
I think I've had that one.
So structured and so amazing. I did a workout where my legs can't move today. They hurt so bad. But even then, like I did my workout, I showered, I got ready, I put on makeup. I'm like, okay.
Right.
But that has actually become a natural routine for me to get ready every day, especially we have daily trainings for our academy. So, but I've just made it like, I don't want to be in sweats and feel like a bum all day.
Well, did you know just like being a mom, and I'm a working mom, but I'm also kind of like a stay-at-home mom. I kind of balance both worlds pretty well. And it's funny, if I ever find myself getting in a funk or like feeling a little bit depressed, like depression and anxiety runs in my family. I've actually never taken anything for it, but I've realized like in managing my own anxiety, one of the biggest things that helps me is staying productive and busy. So if I find myself in a funk and I don't want to work out or I don't want to do something, that's when I know I need it the most. Even if it's like a 20-minute workout, whatever. Or say I have a day where I'm like, I don't want to like work on business stuff right now, I'll clean my house.
Yeah.
Just because like projects and just staying busy, I literally think like downtime is kind of the devil. Unproductivity is kind of like, that's when anybody can get in a funk. When you have nothing going on. And that's why, despite everything going on with COVID-19, like you think about people who have made like millions and millions and millions, and you hear about them getting depressed because they have no purpose and they don't have anything going on. And it's like, you have to have purpose or you will get depressed, you will get anxiety, like it just happens. And so now it's like things are at an all-time high because people are like being forced to like kind of pause, but you don't need to pause at the level that everybody's pausing.
You don't have to stop. You're just being told to slow down.
Right.
Like no one said literally stop everything.
Right.
There are still things you can do. And Danielle and I, we were talking this morning, and one of the things we've really been seeing with our students is we're starting to get messages of like, I'm breaking down.
Mm-hmm.
Like my anxiety's at an all-time high, my depression's at an all-time high. Like I don't know what to do. We're getting messages from the students like, my husband is an EMTer, he's a firefighter, he's a doctor. I haven't seen him in weeks. Like, I'm fucking breaking down. Yeah. And that's a really hard place to be in. I feel like when everyone started going on the social distancing and the lockdown, it was like, vacation! Yeah. I'm gonna lay around and do nothing. And now we're what, 4 weeks in already? We're 3-4 weeks in?
I was almost gonna say, it's almost been a month, so.
Yeah, and I feel now it's really starting to hit people like, this is not a vacation.
Right.
Oh shit, and now we're not only sitting in this place of, all hairstylists have been deemed non-essential.
Right.
So none of us are working anymore. And now we're like, okay, well, this is the money I have, but oh my God, what happens when we come back? Are clients gonna come? Are they not gonna come? Am I gonna have money? Am I not gonna, what am I? And it's panic.
I think too, there's this element of like, I have to stay home, and if I leave my house, I feel guilty, or if I have a babysitter come to my house, like, because I have kids.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, if you have kids, like, you need, like, especially if you're used to having your kids away from home and in school all day, and all of a sudden you're like, not only are you just home, but you're home with your kids. Like, ladies, we love our kids, but that in itself can be very stressful. Like, my kids have had a meltdown every other day. Like, I've about lost it a few times. And so I think there's this element of guilt where women are like, well, I can't go out, I have to stay home. And I can see why it gets darker and darker and darker. Like, for me, I still have my babysitter come for a few hours every day, because to me, she's like family, and I feel comfortable with her being in my home. Mm-hmm. And then I'm able to kind of, even if it's like a walk or a workout or getting some, like a webinar done without having my kids like
mom.
Yeah,
mom,
like just
mom,
like
mom.
I need help. So I'd encourage you, if you're a stay-at-home mom, if you can still have help come, I definitely think it's worth your sanity.
And not only that, there is right now, look, everybody's afraid. Everyone's afraid. Anyone who they're like, I don't care, I'm fine. Like, honestly, you're just a liar at that point, and you're not really addressing the fact that you are scared. Everybody is scared.
Right.
Like, no industry in the world has not been affected in one way or the other. And, you know, I know what it's like to not have enough money to fill up your gas tank.
Right.
Like, before I started in BMS, which, by the way, next month is 4 years since I joined. Next month I'm at 5 years that I've done NBR, and next month is 4 years.
You worked here?
Since I've done BMS.
Oh, cool.
I've only worked here 2.5 years now.
I feel like I've known you for a couple decades, so I'm like, oh, what year are we at?
What century is it? But even inside of that, like, I always remember what that was like. Before I joined BMS, it wasn't like, oh, I need gas and go to the gas station and just fill up my tank. It'd be like, okay, go to the gas station. How many miles do I have left? Okay, how much money is in my bank account? Okay, how much is gas? Okay, I'll put in like 3 gallons. That'll get me by until I do a few more clients and have a little more money.
Right.
Like, I still remember to this day what that felt like. And some people have truly had the luxury of never feeling that way. Like, they've never understood
This is like
that.
a whole new thing, because this is something that's out of our control, like completely. Like, even if you are like the best saver in the world, like, it's still a little bit scary that things are on pause.
Yes.
And it's funny because I've shared this a few times, like when the market crashed and all this, and we had no money in the bill or in the account, and Garrett was just like, well, you need to pay the bills, and I was like, well, we need money to pay the bills. And I remember having like the worst anxiety, like literally, because he was the one putting the deposits in the account to pay the bills, and I'd just be like, please, dear Lord, tell me he sold something and we have money in there because I've got these bills. And I'd be like, nope, I can't look at it, because it physically made me sick.
Yes.
And then I remember there was a few times where we didn't have enough money, and I remember one specific time going down into Garrett's office because he worked out of the home, and I'm like, we don't have enough money to pay the bills. Like, I need at least like another $3-4 grand. And he was like, he like got mad at me. He's like, I'm doing everything I can. And I was like, well, shit. I'm like, I can do more with hair, and I'll see if I can help. But it was like it was like such a dark time for me.
Yeah.
And it was just gave me like that pit in my stomach. And so like when I hear students and what they're going through, I'm like, I can promise you I'm not at that same place of fear, because I experienced it. And once we kind of built, and I shared this on last week's podcast, it took me like 10 years to get back to where I felt like we were at a good, healthy space, and like a very abundant in our businesses. But I'm like, I still have this element of like, well, I will never go back there.
And that's the thing I think you guys have to understand, though, is I'm in a good place now. Like, my life now compared to what it was even 4 years ago is literally mind-blowingly different, which is cool to see. But even then, I don't forget those times where I was scared, and I'm one of those. I'm a good saver. I actually am. I'm good with money. I'm a good saver, but I still struggled, because if you have no money coming in, it's still a fucking problem. Like, it's an issue. And I remember all of those times of being like, or even when you're using your card and you're like, please don't decline, please don't decline, please don't decline. Like, it's so terrifying. And even you sitting here now, that Danielle and I, we meet every single day. We talk from 7 a.m. to like 9:30 p.m. It's either texting or sending, like, it's literally nonstop, which is fine. But I know that she's also pushing as hard, because it's one thing to be like, I'm afraid, and to sink into it and to allow yourself to stay there and feel the full weight of anxiety and fear and depression and stress and not do anything to alleviate any of that. Like, that's one thing. There's another to be like, I'm terrified.
I think there's a balance of being aware. Like, I'm trying to be respectful of like social distancing, wearing a mask out in public, things like that. But it's not to a whole another level where I'm just like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, it has to be like, yeah, let's let this whole thing slow down. Let's be respectful about what's going on. Like, I get annoyed when I see, a bunch of like college or high school or even junior high kids like having parties. I'm like, okay, where are your parents? Like, this is not helping. Like, this is not helping it slow down, and this is why they're having more police out and trolling and this kind of thing. Because like, you're not social distancing. Like, you're just hanging out. You're just doing your own thing, which I get it. If you have older kids, maybe you can't completely control that. But with my kids, I'm like, no, you can't hang out with friends right now. Like,
you're going nowhere.
No.
Absolutely
So
not.
I think there's this like balance of like being respectful of like, hey, the hospitals are going nuts, the doctors, everybody thinks crazy right now. So we can just slow down, but let's not let the fear take over.
And also, I think if you're sitting there and because you might be one of those, truly fortunate people that you've never felt this a day in your life. Like, and this might be the first time that you're truly being afraid, you can't just brush that off.
Right.
Like really, that's one of the biggest mistakes people will make is be like, it's fine.
It's not happening.
I'm not gonna think about it. Because I can tell you what keeps Danielle pushing every day were those dark times. Even though she's not there now, Danielle, would you ever let yourself get back there?
Well, that's why I think even when they were like, you're gonna have to close your salon down, like I was quick. I was like, okay, what are we gonna do? Like I wasn't like, I'm just gonna be respectful and let 2 weeks go by and we're all gonna, I knew the minute I was like, I'm gonna have to close my salon down and it's not gonna be 2 weeks. I knew, in my gut, I was like, May, maybe June, I'm like, but it's gonna be a hot minute. So instead of like being like, okay, well I'm fine, yeah, I'm fine, but I still have employees that work for me.
I still have people.
I still have 300 artists inside of my academy that not everybody is in the financial situation that I'm in. And so as a leader, I had to step up and be like, innovate and be like, what can we do right now? Because I've been in that scary place and I knew my students, I was like, the first thing they're gonna freak out. Like they don't have savings. Artists are not great at saving or planning or even managing their numbers. And that's really why I felt passionate to not just offer natural beaded roses like, hey, this is a great extension technique, but I was like, hairstylists need to know the business behind how to do hair. Like they do. Like I can't handle any more rah-rah, here's a color formula, this and that. Like I don't fucking care anymore. Like if you can't figure out how to run your business well, then why are you in business at all? And so for me, I'm like, because I've been ignorant myself and I've been in this place where I shared before where I was like, I knew we were spending too much. I knew Paul was, what's the saying? We're like
borrowing money from Paul to pay Peter.
Like running different, yeah, like I knew what was going on, but I kind of had my head in the sand. And so I had to be like, no, I will not let that happen again. And so I feel like with my artists, I'm like, okay, let's be proactive. Let's get them to understand like where they're at is probably not where they want to be, but how can we fix and correct this so that they come out of this stronger? And I keep saying, I'm like, you guys, stick with us. We're training them 30 days right now. Like normally we don't train every single day.
Normally we do twice a month.
Like we're literally on live trainings with our students every day just for the mere fact to manage stress, anxiety, and help them to feel some normalcy inside of their day and have something for them to look forward to. So I just think it's important, you guys, like do not let the fear take over. And the first thing that for me that I've noticed when I feel that anxiety and that fear, I get mad at myself because I'm crazy like that. I'm like Danielle, no, don't. I'm like Danielle, don't be a fucking loser. Get up and go. It works every time. I'm like, you're right. I'm not
a loser.
Not a loser.
Shit.
And I literally, I get myself up. I get my kids up. I'm like, you're better than this. And I kind of like just tell myself like, you're better than this. And it makes me just like, okay, I got to get up. I got to get busy, and I got to get going.
And even going back to the fear portion of this, guys, if you're not allowing yourself to feel it to any extent at all, this can happen to you again. Maybe not as terrible as it is because of COVID-19, but there could be another time where your business isn't making as much money, you've been making terrible decisions, and we've said this before. The place that your business is at now is not because of COVID-19, it's because of business decisions you've been making for days, weeks, months, years.
Right.
And so if you don't let yourself see this fear and understand it and almost place it in a box where you can look at it later, you're going to make the same mistakes again. The reason Danielle and we were so quick to be like, we're closing in 2 days, like this is going to happen. What do we do? And we started turning everything around so quickly is because I don't ever want to be in that place again.
Right.
I never want to, this might sound crazy, I never want to feel that poor. I never want to feel that stressed. I never want to worry about, can I fill my gas tank? Do I have money to buy food? What about paying my rent? I never...
You know what keeps... Sorry, keep going.
No, so I never want to feel that again. Danielle never wants to be in the place of, I have to sell furniture to feed my children.
Right.
Like,
you know
that
what keeps us stuck though? Like I was just thinking about when you're like, I was actually thinking about when we were like selling shit to put like food on the table when you said that. But like literally, I think oftentimes we worry about what other people think about us. And we've had students say this, like, I don't know if I want to be in this salon, or I don't know if I want to be in this relationship with this person, or whatever, business relationship, personal relationship, whatever it is. And I feel like we always are worried about what other people think. And so we stay where we're at, right? And we continue on this kind of, I call it the hamster wheel, where we think we're like moving forward, but we're making all the same mistakes because we haven't decided to just not give a fuck what anybody thinks. And Crystal was so funny in our last meeting. She goes, Danielle's like the type of person where she just doesn't give a fuck. And I think I had to learn that over time because there was a Danielle that was just like, oh, I can't be a speaker, I can't be a trainer, I can't be this, I can't be this, I can't be... And I kept myself small in my own box because of what? because people thought that
yes.
that wasn't me, and I didn't want to show them this other side of me that I believed in. And I had to literally, like, when shit went sideways for Garrett and I, like, it wasn't like I just, you know, we saved and worked really hard. Like, I literally had to abandon everybody around me, and it was hard. Like, my family was in my head all the time. Like, what are you guys doing? We stopped practicing the religion we were in. People were like, oh my God, they've lost it. They've lost their marbles. Like, they're losing the faith. They're going to hell. Like, literally, if you're my culture and my religion that I was raised in, it was so tight. The fact that we didn't want to be involved, it was like, we're not going to see you. Our families are going to be together forever. That's what they believed. And I was like, holy fuck, I have to decide that maybe I don't necessarily believe that, and I don't want to be in that box. And I had all these voices in my head that was just like, I finally was like, I just had to be like, I got to do what I feel like I need to do for me right now. And it may not make sense. And I had to just tune out the noises. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to practice my religion anymore. Okay, I need to tune my best friend out right now. Even like my sister, I was like, I can't talk to you anymore. I literally was like, hi, please don't text me anymore. Like, I had so many hard conversations. My mom even, I was like, I don't want to hear the drama anymore, and I don't want any more voices in my head. Like, it got that bad to where I felt like I had to almost like isolate myself and my family. And not only that, we physically got up, and after we sold everything, we lost everything, we had nowhere to go or do, we moved out of state and just kind of restarted, and it was just me and my family and no voices. And I was like,
this is amazing.
It was quiet, and I was like, holy shit. And for that moment and that year, I felt like I had so many like downloads come where it was like, this is what you're supposed to be doing, this is what you need to, and that's when I created my online course, and that's when I started building, and that was such a quiet year for me. And I felt, and I always share the story how I always felt like students were rooting for me to like put on a program before I even knew what the program was. And I genuinely believe that's because I was able to tune out the fear and the noise inside of my head.
And not only that, guys, it's not only fear that's being projected onto you, but it's also the fear that's inside of you. Because sometimes a lot of people are actually very scared of producing and being successful.
Right.
Because, well, then who am I going to be? And then what are people going to think? And then, but what about this? And what if I do buy an expensive pair of shoes? Like, do I not belong
Isn't
anymore?
that funny?
It blows my mind. So there is also that fear inside, and you are able to not only cut out the noise and the fear being projected onto you, you are also able to get past your own shit.
Yeah.
And I feel that can also be detrimental for people as well.
Right.
And
I think
now,
that's why I'm so weird about shoes, because for a while I remember like my first pair of expensive shoes I saved for like a month, and they were like $400 or something. And then I remember my first pair of like Valentinos, and even I had so much in my mind were like, you can't buy these shoes, who do you think you are? And I was like, fuck it, I'm buying these shoes.
Yeah.
And I think for me that it wasn't about the shoes, it was about the shift in my mind that I was like, who says you can't have this?
I remember coming to my first NBR class. I bought a new pair of shoes. They were $100, and I thought that was so expensive. It like blew my mind. And I got my first pair of Valentinos because of you. No, my Louboutins.
But isn't it funny how you say like we're scared to become this other person because of the people in our past are going to judge us based on who we were then?
Yes.
It's nuts. And you're like, well, you've outgrown them, so why would you give a fuck what they said?
Like, and it's literally, it's just terrifying.
But it is. It's terrifying to get outside of that box and expect more out of yourself and I always felt like, I'm like, okay, I'm going here. And I even told Garrett, I'm like, there was a while where I felt like we couldn't even keep in our same friend groups because we were growing at such a rapid rate, and my circle just went, and I was like, nope, you're safe, you're safe, you're safe. And my bubble just like, I became so protective of who I let in my bubble because of what my values were.
Well, and it's so interesting you say that, because even the person I'm dating now, he says he's actually told me I'm antisocial. He told me that once. He's like, you're antisocial. I'm like, no, hold up. There's a difference between being antisocial and selectively deciding who I allow into my life. And I've spent probably the past 10 years getting so in tune with my intuition that I can meet someone and within 7 seconds be like, no, there's something about you, whatever it is, I'm so sorry. And it's not about looks, it's not about clothes, it's not about any of that. It's a feeling.
Right.
I'm never fucking wrong. I'm never wrong. And the only time I've been screwed is every time I haven't listened.
Yeah.
But no, she's nice. He doesn't, but she, and then I don't listen.
When you make up excuses for your feet, you're like, no, you took those.
Yeah. And I told him, I said, I'm not antisocial. It's I gauge quickly.
Yeah.
And if my gauge says no, to me, it's a no, period, end of discussion. I'm done making excuses. I'm sure you're a great person. Thank you so much. It's so nice to meet you.
Hang out.
We don't have to be fucking friends with everybody.
And same goes that for me with even like clients at some level, like clients, you don't have to go hang out and have coffee and cocktails and whatever.
Yeah.
But if I have even like just that client gives me anxiety or whatever, I'm like, I can't do it. It's not a good fit. Do you know what I mean?
No.
I'm like, no. And I think that you have to be able to protect your bubble. And we've talked about that a lot in a lot of shows, is like, create your bubble and like protect it, because otherwise fear will get into it.
Mm-hmm. And then not only that, what I'm seeing with the students now is, yes, they're afraid of what's currently happening. Like, and I absolutely understand that this has never happened, period, in the history of the world. This has never happened. Like, this is one of these things, and it sounds terrible, but just like 9/11, we're going to look back on, this will be in history books, this will be in financial books, this will be in all, it's embedded in history now.
Right.
This is crazy that we're living through it, because 10 years from now, we're going to look back and be like, damn. And we might still be recovering in 10 years. Like, that might be the end of the recovery.
And they're just more like managing it right now. You know what I mean?
Yes. And right now, I feel that artists, they're like, yes, I'm afraid now, but what's going to happen when I get back to work, and then work opens, and then my clients, and then, and it's like, wait, so not only are you afraid of what's actually happening now you took what's happening, you created a future where you have no idea what the fuck is going to happen. Literally no one does.
Yeah.
You made up a story, you made up an entirely fake future, and now you're afraid of the fake future that you made up in your head.
Right.
I'm sorry. That just sounds crazy, which I understand how they got there.
Because women are planners, but in women being planners, we're also great storytellers. Like,
girl, you know me, I will tell a story. But it's blowing my mind that I'm like, you're actually debilitating yourself, because you're literally making something up, assuming it to be true. And by the way, you're all going worst case scenario, like 100% of you.
I always do that. I always tell Garrett, I'm like, he's like, how do you make decisions? And I'm like, I always know when like my anxiety's kicked in, because it's not like I'm like, oh, where's my kids? Oh, they're probably at friends. I'm like, they definitely got lost, and then they're this. Like, I make up worst case scenario, and then I'm like, Danielle, did that really happen? Did that? And so it's natural to go there, right? Yes. But then you have to ask yourself, like, is that really going to happen?
Look,
it's like being aware of like where my children are, and like not being like, I don't know, they went to the neighbors. It's like, hey, checking in, being aware, but not being fearful about it.
Can I tell you, I did that the other day, because my boyfriend, he went on a drive, and
you couldn't get a hold of him. So
and all of a sudden, and it was pouring rain. And I'm like, he went on a drive. He's not a bad driver. Well, he's not the best driver either. No one tell him I said that. And I'm like, oh my God, did he swerve? I wonder if he's okay. He's not answering. And I'm like, he's 31 years old. Calm down, woman. Like, I even had a moment where I'm like, he just doesn't have his phone on. Like, he never has it on. It's okay. But even for me, I was like, but I think that's the problem. And you might be sitting there and you're either laughing like, oh my God, that's me. I'm that person. Or you're triggered as fuck. Like, how dare they say that about women? Now, have you consider, if you're triggered, it might be because it's true for you, and you're one of those people.
What do you do, like, when that happens for you? For me, I have to, like, literally be like, okay, reel it in, and I just, like, take 3 deep breaths. And I'm like, okay, like, you need to calm down, because even if something happened, this energy is not going to help anything.
Yes.
And I just take 3 deep breaths. And for some reason, for me, that helps. I'm like, okay. And then I, like, logically, something happens in my brain. Like, when you bring in oxygen, strangely enough.
Your brain works.
Your brain works. And I'm literally like, okay. And I can think more clearly of, like, here's what needs to happen if X, Y, and Z. And it's more of like fact-based versus fear-based.
Yes. For me, I'll give myself, and I've said it before, 5 to 10 minutes, because when I'm at that, I'm actually a very emotional person, like highly emotional.
It's because you're sensitive.
I'm not sensitive.
No, like you feel a lot, I feel like.
Yes, I feel other people's energy a lot.
Same.
You can't hurt my feelings. Like, I'm not sensitive in that way, but energetically I'm very sensitive. So I'll give myself 5 to 10 minutes if I have to cry, yell, or pace around going, oh my God, 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 this is nuts, what the fuck? Okay, then I'm like, okay. Then I start asking myself questions. I'm like, what's the problem? Because I feel a lot of people, they're like, coronavirus is the problem. No, the fact that you had poor planning, you save no money, and you're stressed about clients, that's your fucking problem.
Right.
So I'm always like, okay, what's the problem I'm currently facing? Okay, this is my problem. And then I split it into 2 ways. It's one question. Can I do anything about it? It's either yes or no. If my answer is no, there's nothing I can do about it, then I'm like, you know what? Then stressing at this point is useless. There's nothing I can do about it.
Did you?
On the flip side, if I'm like, can I do anything about this? And my answer is yes, then don't fucking stress. Do what needs to be done.
Alleviate the stress.
Yes.
It's so funny because anxiety and stress and depression runs in my family, and I've seen like bad case scenarios of it and that kind of thing. I am always like, I hate feeling like maybe it has an edge of control on me. And one of the things that, for me, like I used to be terrified of public speaking, any kind of public speaking. And it drove me nuts. Like literally I would get up, my face, I blush easy. I still do. I don't know why.
All from here to here.
Yeah, I blush easy, but literally I'd get on stage, or if I were to like speak in front of a camera, I'd be like, I couldn't, the words couldn't come out. And it drove me nuts. And I'm like, well, how do I get over this? Because like I have such anxiety about it. I'm like, I get over it by doing it. And same goes with like flying. I used to hate, I still don't love flying, but I used to be like, oh, I can't fly. And when shit went sideways with the whole market crashing like 8-9 years ago, I was the primary income earner at the time, and we lived in Arizona, and I would fly every 4 to 6 weeks back to Utah to do hair, and I got over my anxiety of flying doing that. And now sometimes I still get a little nervous, turbulence, whatever, bad takeoff, but literally like I would almost hyperventilate when driving to the airport before that. I was like, and I hated that my anxiety had that control, and I was like, how do you get over that? Then you do what makes you scared to get over it.
Always.
And I did it, and I was like, okay, and now I'm like really proud of like the person that I've become because I haven't let my fear and anxiety take over me.
And do you know what's so funny? I don't know if you'll remember this, but I do. I think I insulted you like 4 years ago by accident because one of the first trainings I ever saw you on was with you and Garrett. It was a webinar, and he talked the whole time, and he'd be like, Danielle, and you'd be like, yep. And then you'd look back and he'd be like, okay, so next question. Like, you didn't say much. You were pretty quiet the whole time. And then that had to be probably the beginning of 2016. So a few months later, when I was in like a 3-month training with you and Garrett, Garrett would be like, well, Danielle, blah, blah, blah. And you'd be like, yes, no, because da-da-da, and do this, that, da-da. And you just spoke so much more. And Garrett was talking about progress and this and that. And I commented and I go, I can see the progress Danielle's made. I remember the first trainings, like she barely said a word. And you go, that was rude. I was like, I meant it in a good way. Hold on. But even that was 4 years ago. Right. And I saw progress in you as a student back then. Because I remember the first webinar, you were just super quiet, kind of like, what the fuck is this? Yeah. And by the end of the year, you're like, Garrett would be like, well, you'd be like, hold on. But this, and
well, and it's funny because I'll hear students all the time. They're like, I can't do live videos. I can't do this. I can't do that. And I'm like, they're like, I'm introverted. Like, you're just natural on camera. You're just really comfortable. I'm like, no, how do you get good at hair? Like, you do hair. How do you
practice? How
do you get good at speaking? You speak. Like, one of the reasons I remember Garrett was like, you guys need to do a podcast. We're doing a podcast. I was like, podcast. And finally, because I'm kind of stubborn like that, and finally I was like, yeah, let's do a podcast. But in doing a podcast, I feel like I've gotten a lot better at my communication.
Yes.
I always felt like a smart person, but it was almost like I was like, shlolana. Like I couldn't get the words out. Like I literally was like, what did I, and still sometimes I hear myself talking. I'm like, I didn't even answer your question. I'm sorry. What did you ask? Like, but I think I've just gotten more comfortable with myself and learning to articulate and communicate. So,
well, and also understanding if you flub something up, that's okay too.
Right.
I don't know what it was. I think might have been a training from one of the students. I asked a question. And they're like, what color is the sea? And you're like, that's a great question. The sky is blue.
I go, and I was like, I could feel myself not answering her question, and I finally just owned up to it. And we're in like front of like a live call, and I was like, I don't know what you asked. I'm sorry.
She goes,
can you?
What was the question? I was like, you were almost there. This was the question. She's like, yes, the chair is black. I was like,
but part of me was like, how did I go so left field? Like, what?
I think you were so excited to tell a story.
Yes, that's what I do. I love telling stories to make it like a parable and wrap it around. So they're like, oh, because for me, if somebody tells me a story, I retain information better.
Same.
So that's what I do is I tell a story in a parable and wrap it around. But sometimes around the loop, I'm like, whoa.
She's going, and then she's like, burn!
And then literally. Then I'm
but
like,
you know what? I think that's why I like how Garrett teaches and trains too, because it's all stories, and I learn through stories.
He's so good at like literally reframing everything.
I dropped a burrito. Here's how you fix coronavirus.
I hate how smart he sounds when he's speaking. It actually drives me nuts. I'm like, damn it.
And for me, I'll always have the vision of Cowboy Garrett at Christmas a few years ago when he ripped off the shirt sleeves.
Yeah, that's the Garrett I remember.
So,
you guys.
Talking about fear, guys, it's okay to be afraid. It's okay to be afraid of what's happening, of what's to come. You just can't let it paralyze you. So just ask yourself 2 questions. What's the thing that's actually making you afraid? And then can you do anything about it? And I'm not saying it's that simple. You do have to handle yourself internally, but if you start there, it's a good start off point.
And stay busy. Like if you find yourself in a funk, and you're like, I can't even work on business right now. Like your brain's, like honestly, if you need to like go scrub some toilets or clean, I don't know why, but that will help like kind of clear your brain a little bit, and then you can kind of come back to the problem later and be like, okay.
I clean my carpets.
Yeah, no, I'm serious. Like
carpet
for some
cleaner,
reason,
seriously.
like if you organize or you feel like you were productive, then you can kind of come back and revisit this project or whatever it is with work that's maybe stressing you out or causing you anxiety or causing fear. And what happens 99% of the time for me is once I get into it, I'm like, it's not that bad. And not only that is I literally am like, oh, I feel the weight just got lifted off my shoulders. I can't believe I allowed myself to have stress and anxiety and fear for the last like week about something that took me 2 hours to just take a hard look at it and decide to figure it out. Take a few deep breaths and don't let your anxiety and your fear take control of you, because then it won. You didn't win. The fear and anxiety won.
Absolutely.
And if so many of us let the fear and anxiety win, that's going to be more detrimental than the actual virus itself.
So guys, thank you for being here with us. You can watch the video if you're not watching it already at dkwstyling.com. And like always, we will be here next week. If there's anything you want to hear us talk about or any questions you have.
We're going to do lives. We're going to start doing lives on Instagram. So if you guys want, I think just like a 15-minute live on Mondays, kind of podcast style. So if you love our podcast, we'd love to invite you guys to join us live on the Natural Bearded Rose page every Monday at 1 o'clock. If you have
Pacific Standard Time.
Pacific Standard Time. If you have questions, comments, you just want to engage, because I realize in a podcast, if you love the content, but you're like, oh, I want to say something. Now's your shot. Bring your positive pants. We don't want negative Sally.
And if you're negative Sally, we just won't respond to you.
Yes,
I'm just kidding. We're
But
all
join us
positive
live.
pants.
Join us live. We'll see you guys.
Bring your fancy pants just like Danielle
Bring
did.
your fancy sweatpants, and we'll see you Monday live on the Natural Bearded Rose extension page on Instagram. Bye.